Is the Florida housing market in trouble? What's up, everybody? Steve here. I hope you're doing well. If you don't know, I've been a real estate agent since '03, broker and owner of a real estate brokerage since '06. I've been investing the entire time. In 2018, we sold our real estate brokerage. We built it up to a couple offices, 70 agents. Been through the last crash, and especially with the hurricane that just happened here in Southwest Florida. We are in ground zero in Southwest Florida and have been helping a lot of people over the last several weeks. And it's had some negative effects on the entire state of Florida, which we're going to talk about today as well. For one thing, not just the hurricane and the fear of people afraid of a hurricane or whatever the case is, but the overall appreciation that we've seen over the last 2 years. Now, this is not just segregated to the state of Florida. This is across the board in any markets that really have seen a huge uptick of valuation. What happens is, in my estimation, a lot of this has just been artificial equity. And what I mean by that is because we had artificially low interest rates, we had a lot of stimulus in the market, a lot of money printing in the market, that caused asset classes, almost every asset class to increase in value. Now, unfortunately, what happens with real estate is in the state of Florida, we have something called the homestead. And homestead it's where your primary residence is, and it's called Save Our Homes, and your taxation can only increase by 3% per year. This way, especially in a bubble like this, your real estate taxes just don't skyrocket on where you live, pricing you out. It's a good thing. It's a great thing for the state of Florida, and hopefully other states adopt something similar. Now, real estate taxes for everybody else, whether it's a second home, an investment property, whatever the case is, because we had such a huge appreciation of real estate values, the property appraisers are going to assess on that new value, and everybody's millage rate is going to increase. So everybody's real estate taxes have gone up at no fault of their own. Overnight, you could have seen your tax bill go up 50%, maybe even higher. So that is starting to get people a little nervous because of the ultimately the higher taxation, the higher millage rate. The next thing is insurance. Obviously, we just had a massive hurricane. The Florida insurance system altogether has been broken for a long time based on frivolous lawsuits. Basically, you had attorneys teaming up with general contractors, and essentially what they were doing was going out promoting that people could get a free roof. And then these insurance companies or the attorneys would be suing the insurance companies, get these people free roofs, and the contractors and attorneys would split fees. It was ultimately a racket, and what it did, it caused everybody's insurance rates to increase. Now with this hurricane happening, it just exacerbated the problem. Flood insurance, wind, hurricane insurance, all those costs are going up. Unfortunately, that is going to price people out, causing them to list and sell their properties. Another thing are association fees. Now, in the state of Florida, we have many condo complexes. We have master associations and so forth, but particularly condo associations. Now, condo associations are usually controlled by a board of directors, and you can volunteer for the position as well if you own in that community, and they basically have the control of basically the entire complex. So if it's mismanaged, they can run it into the ground, not collect enough in association fees over the years, not have enough money, which would cause assessments, which we're going to talk about as well. But right now, especially with the cost of insurance and everything else, I am seeing association fees skyrocket on communities. They are jumping up tremendously, an increase of cost for people. And unfortunately, it's going to price people out. And then a special assessments, basically what a special assessment is, let's say that you had to replace the roof and you didn't have enough money allocated into a reserve fund to replace the roof, and they were they didn't have enough funds, so they would go and assess every single unit owner. And it could be $5,000, it could be $10,000. I talked about some of these in other videos on another condo complex where they're looking at $30,000 to $40,000 in special assessment fees per unit. So if it's mismanaged and they're not collecting the necessary fees, which it's ultimately it's good that some associations are increasing their fees because they can start putting that money into reserve accounts. But if they don't have enough, then you have special assessment fees. Now, with the hurricane here in Southwest Florida, a lot of these communities are not only going to see higher association fees, but they're going to see special assessment fees. It's already happening right now. Some communities are not waiting for the insurance companies to pay out, so they're assessing everybody preliminarily to try to get funds so they can start work on these condo complexes. And it's important. It's an important process of doing it. They might get reimbursed those special assessment fees depending on the payout from insurance companies, but who knows? The cost of repair and labor, I think this is across the board throughout the United States, but it's just getting more and more expensive to have a house and maintain a house, especially with the frenzy that went on in the last 2 years. Unfortunately, in a lot of the hot markets, you had people just overpaying for their properties. They were overpaying appraised value for the properties. And some people were not even doing inspections on the properties. And unfortunately, those people bought and now they have buyer's remorse. There's studies coming out that more and more people have buyer's remorse because they bought too small of a house. They didn't necessarily like the location. And now they're faced with all these issues of the house. They have to replace a water heater. They have to replace certain plumbing. They have to replace HVAC systems. They have to replace roofs. So people are starting to get an understanding, especially the millennials, that the cost of home ownership can be wildly expensive if you did not have certain things in your home already replaced before you purchase. So a lot of people are going to be screwed there. And then I did another video the other day. This is pertaining to FEMA 50/50, and I also showed you guys a lot of the hurricane destruction here in Southwest Florida, and I'll link that for you guys at the end of this video. But basically, FEMA 50/50 is going to prevent a lot of people from rebuilding their homes. They're going to actually have to, unfortunately, level the properties and rebuild completely up to new standard, new code. So who's going to get hurt in this? It's going to be people that are priced out. I think one of the larger populations that I believe we'll probably start to see in the next year, 2, 3 years, maybe this could extend over the next 5 years, because we do have an aging population. And so you have a lot of senior citizens that are on fixed income. They're relying on Social Security, this and that. And understand something too. A lot of these senior citizens, they bought some of the most prime real estate in the state of Florida, and they bought at very, very inexpensive prices. So I know people that bought some of these beautiful high-rise condos for $40,000, $50,000 directly on the beach years and years and years ago. Odds are most of them are free and clear. They don't have a mortgage, but living on a fixed income. And even if this is a second home for them, a lot of people are going to get priced out based on everything that we just talked about, from higher association fees to higher real estate taxes to even special assessments that are really going to start hurting people. So I believe just based on that aging demographic, we're going to have an influx of inventory coming in to the market. Check out that next video on the FEMA 50/50. It'll give you some insight as to what's really going on here in the state of Florida. Thanks for being here.